what if I take this script, I make you a PG-13 version that you can just blast into the world and hopefully as many people see it as possible. And then you let me, as a bonus, you just let me make this version exactly as I think. And they were like, okay, that sounds cool. So coming at the end of the summer, you'll see my 2 3-hour versions of Rebel Moon that are like hard R-rated, the hardest.
What you wanted to do.
Which I exactly wanted to do. So they said, yeah, go do that. And so they were able, because normally when I do this, director's cuts, which is a thing now I'm weirdly famous for, the director's cuts were always an answer to a thing that the studio made me do, right? Like, here's my movie. They're like, yeah, we really want you to cut these parts out because they're not cool. They're like, the movie's too long or the movie's too violent or whatever. And I would be like, wow, really? Because I really think that's kind of the why of the movie. And they'd be like, no, it's really important. The focus groups told us that they don't like that. So take it out. So I'd take it out, but then I'd go like, I'd go over to home video right across the street and I'd be like, hey, guys, you want another movie to release? Because I got the shit. And they'd be like, absolutely, whatever you say. Because, at that time, there was a huge market for directors. It gave them a second kick at the can in home video, right? So they would be like, that's so cool. We get a whole other movie to market that like never before seen footage.
Right.
It just feels like a cool thing. And so that was how I've always done my director's cuts, always as a response to what the studio was telling me couldn't be in the movie. Because I never planned. I would always go into it like bright-eyed, like, oh, everyone's going to love this. Including, the studio, when you see my cut, you're going to think it's amazing. And they would like look at it and go like, bro, like this is too much. And so that's where my director's cuts kind of as a practice were born. It was born out of that, me needing to show the world what I intended originally. And so, by the time now that I've got to Netflix with this Rebel Moon movie and my sort of the mythology around my director's cuts was kind of a thing, especially with Justice League, as you can imagine. They were like, you know what? Why don't we do a director's cut as part of the process rather than as a response to it? And I was like, that's really smart. Like, that's really cool because in a lot of ways, I totally get the economics of making a PG-13 version. The cool thing about TV is they have TV 14 and then it goes to TVMA. TVMA literally has no top on it. I think it's like almost like porn is TVMA.
Is there?
I don't know what I look. No one understands the ratings. No one does. It's an alchemy that is impossible to know.
It's all subjective.
It's
right?
all subjective and bizarre. And so, and they also, it's genre related, right? So like, say for instance, the ratings board might say something like, well, this is a sci-fi movie, so it's too much. But if it was a horror movie, it'd be fine. But it's a sci-fi movie, so it's not fine. Or it's a superhero movie. That was the whole thing with Batman versus Superman. I remember the ratings board said, we just don't like the idea of Batman fighting Superman. I was like, well, what is that? Like, but how is that your opinion? Like, how is that? That has nothing to do with the rating.
The ratings didn't like
they
that?
kept saying, like, they kept making it an R. They kept coming back with an R for us. And we were like, what do you want us to cut out? And they were like, well, we just don't like the idea of Batman fighting Superman. I was like, I can't take that out. That's the movie.
That's so ridiculous that they would have that kind of power.
So it was crazy. So we really had to trim it super.
Do you think that affected the final version?
I mean, if you see the director's cut of Batman vs. Superman, it's much better. It's a much better movie. In my opinion, it's a much better movie.